Hello everyone. So in last video we completed till physical properties, right? Today we are going to start with the chemical reaction. In last video I discussed about the type of reaction which we are using in organic chemistry. Student, you can see on the screen in the reaction of haloalkanes, they are divided into following categories. Number 1, nucleophilic substitution. Number 2, elimination reaction, and number 3, reaction with metals. So in the nucleophilic substitution reaction, the substitution reactions will simply occur with the help of nucleophiles are called nucleophilic substitution reaction. If you see the example, it's a very simple one that a strong nucleophile replaces halogens from haloalkanes, right? And such kind of reactions are called nucleophilic substitution reaction. You can see from this table, these are the nucleophiles which can react with halogen, the alkyl halide, and they can replace halogen from the alkyl halide and form a new compound. Now actually in this chapter, this nucleophilic substitution reaction is actually classified into two types. Substitution nucleophilic bimolecular, its short form is SN2, and substitution nucleophilic unimolecular reaction, its short form is like SN1. Okay student, first of all listen the main points which is important for substitution nucleophilic bimolecular reaction. You can see in this reaction, one is the attacking nucleophile, one is the alkyl halide, right? In this reaction, the rate of reaction depends upon the concentration of both the reaction. It is a one-step reaction, no intermediate is formed. And one more thing, that is inversion takes place. What do you mean by inversion? If you see this reaction, that hydroxyl group enters from one side and the removal of halogen takes place from the other side, right? So it's completely 180 degree change. That is the removal and attachment side. The removal side, that is from the chlorine side, and the attachment towards from the OH side, and the relation between them, they are totally invert. Okay, we can say that is a change of 180 degree. So such kind of substitution is called inversion. And if the attachment is at the same position, means where the halogen is attached, if at the same position the nucleophile is going to be attached, then that is called retention. Okay, once again students, it follows a second order kinetics, that is the rate depends upon the concentration of both the reactant. Okay, it is a one step reaction, no intermediate is formed, and inversion takes place. And you can write this SN2 reaction in this point wise explanation also, and you just copy the first reaction, that is OH minus and chloromethane 1. Okay students. Now in SN1, see SN1 is, we can say that it is totally opposite of SN2, but what are the differences? Let us see the differences. In SN1 reaction, that is the concentration or the rate of reaction depends upon the concentration of only one reactant. Okay, out of two, only one reactant is responsible for the rate of reaction. It is a two-step reaction. In one step, that is the intermediate is formed, and in the second step the final product is formed. Okay, no inversion takes place. So if it is a two-step reaction, then as well as intermediate is formed. Now student, you can see the formation of 2-bromo 2-methylpropane to 2-methylpropane 2-ol. If you see the mechanism, first of all 2-bromo 2-methylpropane forms carbocation, right? That bromide ion is removed and carbocation is formed. Okay, and then in the next step, that carbocation combined with hydroxyl ion, and then it forms 2-methyl propane 2-ol. So this 2-step is important. Okay student, that's why you can say it's a 2-step, and as well as intermediate is formed, because this intermediate is important one. It participate in the reaction. And here we can say retention takes place. If you see the reactant and the product at the same position of bromine, the OH is going to be attached. This is called retention. So finally, SN2 in SN1 reaction, the rate of reaction depends upon the concentration of only one reactant. Second, it is a 2-step reaction. Intermediate is formed, and we can say retention takes place. Students, now how many types of questions can be possible? So the first set of question is directly based on explain SN2 and SN1 reaction. Okay student, and then there is a category, or we can say the increasing and decreasing order based on the degree of alkyl halide, as well as based on change in halogen atom. So first of all, discuss with the trend. Student, you can see the arrow in SN2 reaction. Alkyl halide undergoes faster than primary halide, then secondary, then tertiary. Means we can say tertiary halide undergoes slowest or the last one. But alkyl halide always undergoes faster in the case of SN2 reaction. Don't think that the end point means the first one, that tertiary alkyl halide undergoes faster. No, the arrow side is counted as the first one or the preference one, in which methyl chloride or methyl halide or alkyl halide, we can say, undergoes faster in SN2 reaction. Okay, and just opposite in SN1, tertiary halide undergoes faster than secondary, then primary, then alkyl halide. Okay students, so on the basis of degree, it is totally reverse, and means if we are going to change the degree, that means the halogen is going to fix, but the different alkyl groups are going to attach with the central carbon atom. Now the second category is carbon atom is fixed, but the halogen is going to change. So in that case, the order is Ri greater than Rbr, greater than Rcl, and greater than Rf. Okay student, that means iodine undergoes faster, and the reason is, out of two, if one of them is larger in size, that group undergoes faster in the SN2 or SN1 reaction, because in the case of with respect to halogen, that trend is common in both SN2 and SN1 reaction. Let us see some example. The question is, in the following pairs of halogen compounds, which would undergoes SN2 reaction faster? So there is two pairs, right? So from the first pair, if you see the degree, because the halogen is fixed, that means here the point is based on degree, right? So CH2Cl part is the primary halide, that's why it undergoes faster in SN2 reaction, right? And the second one is actually a secondary halide, that's why it do not undergoes faster. Now in the second pair, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 iodobutane and chlorobutane. Here the alkyl group is fixed, but the halogen is going to be changed, right? So if you see the trend or the order, iodine undergoes faster in SN2 reaction, right? So the first compound undergoes faster, and the reason is due to its larger size. Iodine is a better leaving group. Okay student, so first point of first type of question is based on explain SN2 SN1. Second type based on the basis of degree of alkyl halide, and third type is based on the basis of halogen atom. So these are the category on which the SN2 and SN1 reactions are based, and this is one of the most important topic of haloalkanes and haloarenes. If you compare, if you see the questions from last 5 to 6 years, then either it came in 1 marks or 2 marks or 3 marks, but yes, the presence of question from this topic is compulsory. Okay students, I hope the topic is clear. Students, before to next chemical reaction, there are some topics based on the activity of light, right? The first one is the stereochemical aspects of nucleophilic substitution reaction. A SN2 reaction proceed with complete stereochemical inversion, while SN1 reaction proceed with racemization. In order to understand this concept, we need to learn some basic stereochemical principle and notations. That is optical activity, chirality, retention, inversion, racemization, etc. The first one is the plane polarized light and optical activity. Now what is plane polarized light? Certain compounds rotate the plane polarized light. So first is, what is plane polarized light? Light produced by passing ordinary light through nickel prism. Means simply if you pass white light through nickel prism, it is said to be plane polarized light. Now when certain compounds rotate this plane polarized light, when it is passed through their solution, such compounds are called optically active compounds. Means some of the compound, if their solution can passes this type of light, these are called optically active compounds. And the angle by which the plane polarized light is rotated is measured by instrument called polarimeter. Now where we get a question, like write the name of the instrument by which we can measure the angle of plane polarized light. The answer is polarimeter. If the compound rotates the plane polarized light to the right, means if it rotates towards the clockwise direction, then it is said to be dextrorotatory, and it is related to the Greek, that is for right rotating, or deform, and it is indicated by placing a positive sign before the degree of rotation. And if the light is rotated towards left, that is the anti-clockwise direction, a negative sign is placed before the degree of rotation, or L form. Okay, so towards right we can express by using the plus sign or by small d, and for when it is moving towards anti-clockwise, then we can show by L form or by negative sign. The degree of rotation. Now such plus and minus isomers of a compound are called optical isomers, and the phenomenon is termed as optical isomerism. So student, what is plane polarized light? So when a white light simply passes through a nickel prism, it is called plane polarized light. When some of the compound can rotate these lights in its solution, then these such kinds of compounds are called optically active compounds. When it can rotate towards the clockwise, then it is called dextrorotatory. It is represented by D or plus symbol, and when it rotates towards anti-clockwise, that is left side, then it is called, or it is represented by L form or minus sign. So towards clockwise dextro, towards anti-clockwise levorotatory, right? And such isomers, that is, if plus and minus, if you can compare, means we can say these are one of kind of isomers, right? Because their structures are going to be different. Now such plus and minus isomers of a compound are called optical isomers, and the phenomenon is termed as optical isomerism. Now the next one is the molecular asymmetry, chirality and enantiomer. Student, what do you mean by asymmetry? Generally the carbons are tetravalent. That means 4 atoms are connected with the carbon, central carbon atom of an alkyl halide, right? And when all these 4 connecting atoms are different, all are different, Listen carefully. When all the four connecting atoms are different, then it is called asymmetric carbon. That is the only one case where we can say it is asymmetric. Okay, students? And clear? Now, how this asymmetric carbon is responsible for chirality, and what do you mean by chiral molecules? First of all, student, whenever we see images in the mirror, what we observe? We observe many times the same image is formed like object, and in many times it looks different. Looks different means generally we can say there is a change from left to right, or we can say it is inward. Yes or no? Like if you see our image in the mirror, then our right hand becomes left, left hand becomes right. But if you see some examples, like if you see the image of glass, it is same to same. If you can compare with some alphabets, we compare with some alphabets, it looks similar, right? So in chemistry, what we say actually, if the image and the objects are similar, right, or resembles, then it is called superimposable mirror images. And if the image is going to be different, then such kind of molecules or the images are called non-superimposable mirror images. So superimposable mirror images and non-superimposable mirror images. Now, how these superimposable activity and non-superimposable images are important in this haloalkanes, haloarenes? How it is effectively for the chirality and the chiral molecule? So students, in organic chemistry also, in alkyl halide also, we compare the image of alkyl halide, and if it looks similar, that is superimposable mirror image is formed, then it is said to be achiral. And if the non-superimposable mirror images, that means the different image if we get, then the molecule is said to be chiral, and the phenomenon is called chirality. Okay, students? So now when the molecule is said to be chiral, how can we identify? So when we compare the image, and if the image is going to be different, then the molecule is called chiral, and if it is similar, that is superimposable, then it is called achiral. And students, what is the difference between the comparison? Generally, when we compare our image, we just compare with the mirror images, but here we compare in 3 steps. 3 steps means first we form mirror image, and then we rotate its 180 degree, and then we compare. Suppose the mirror image of compound A is B, and it's after 180 degree rotation if it is C. Now we compare C with A. If C is similar to A, that means superimposable, and it is said to be achiral. And after rotating 180 degree, if C is different than A, then the molecule is said to be chiral. So now students, listen very carefully. During examination or during the solution of such kind of question, we are not going to provide, or no one is going to provide the mirror. So what is the basic concept? What is the terms, or what term we can use and find the molecule that the given one is chiral or achiral? So very simple point. If the central carbon is asymmetric, central carbon is asymmetric, that means all 4 are different. Now how can we find out the central carbon? Very simple. If any functional group or secondary substituent is attached to the carbon, that carbon is considered as central carbon, and from that carbon, if all the connecting group are different, then only it is said to be asymmetric. So if you see the first example, which is at the top of the page, right here, with the central carbon 2-methyl group is attached, so we cannot say it is asymmetric, it is symmetric. That's why if you compare the structure of C with A, it is similar. That means superimposable mirror images. So the compound A is achiral. Now if you see the second structure, that the structure DEF, then you can see the central carbon is asymmetric because one sided H, one side hydroxyl, that is OH, one side methyl, one side ethyl. And if you compare the structure F, there also it is not similar to the D, right? That means we are getting the non-superimposable mirror images. So the compound D is chiral. Okay students, so very simple point. If the central carbon is asymmetric, this is only one case for the chirality. In rest all these cases, the carbon of the molecule is going to be achiral. That means if four constituent of the four atoms which are connecting with the central atoms are same, then also it is achiral. 3 are same, then also achiral. 2 are same, then also achiral. So only one case, that is when all are different, then only it is said to be chiral molecule. I hope you understood chiral and achiral molecule. So in this video, today's video, I completed till chiral and achiral molecule. In next video, I will continue with the next topic. Thank you.